Welcome to the show. As always, there's a lot to talk about when it comes to the presidential election for 2016. The candidates have a little under 3 months to make their case to the American public. Ron, how do you think they're doing?
I think 50% of them's doing terrible.
Which 50?
You choose the 50. Right now, I think as we go forward, all of the comments that have been made in the primary election, calling people names and calling them liars and calling them different names, I'm not sure that the person that did that isn't in the same category as the people that he called out continually. The truthfulness that comes out of Donald Trump's mouth continually, he will wait till he's challenged and then said, I was kidding, I was making a joke. He's not making a joke. It's getting to become serious. And I think all of us need to look at where is our democracy right now? Where is our amendments? Jim, you know, you're a big Second Amendment person. Mm-hmm. I'm a Second Amendment person.
That's right.
Military officer in infantry.
Yep.
Big on weapons, and I care about weapons, but I also care about those guys and gals that fight for us, of protecting the First Amendment right.
Freedom of speech.
And I'm really beginning to become offended when all we do as Second Amendment people and First Amendment people, we're yelling at each other.
So
we need the First Amendment and we need the Second
What
Amendment.
about this, speaking of the Second Amendment, what about the big blow up about the comment he made relative to the Second Amendment, that the Second Amendment folks might be able to do something?
Oh, you mean with Hillary? Yeah. I think it was blown out of proportion, really. I mean, the media is really biased to Hillary. I mean, if Trump says one thing, they blow it up. But Hillary does all these other things, they just kind of keep it quiet.
You got to admit, though, Trump's had more than his share of gas
I think
in the last
Trump,
couple
and
of
I
weeks.
think Ron will agree, and I think you both will agree, that I think he likes controversy.
Well, I think
Gets
Trump
attention.
has a specialty with double meanings, the double entendre, so to speak, that he will say something that can be misconstrued by the people who oppose him at the same point while he's leveraging and everyone's rallying and shaking their pom-poms at what he said in the conference hall he's at.
What's red meat issues?
Yeah.
The red meat issues, the dog whistle politics,
just gonna bring that up.
excites his base. That's what he wants to do, excite the base.
And he
And
still
he's
draws,
exciting the
right,
base.
and he still draws huge crowds. I mean, down in Georgia, I mean, his crowds are huge.
Yeah, but he's only drawing the same people over.
Yes.
He's not expanding his base. He had 14 million votes. I get so tired of hearing about
I
14
do
million
too, yeah.
votes. How many million votes is it going to take to win an election? 180,
Lot more than
190 million? So you have, he's got to expand his base if he wants to.
But for Hillary votes, they don't matter if they're dead or alive.
We've heard that for over the years.
Okay.
More dog whistle politics.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
I can agree, Henry.
I mean, the challenge that I think Trump has is no one is believing what he's saying half the time. Because he's going out and he's saying, well, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. But there hasn't been a lot of meat on the plate to say, this is how I'm going to do it. Now, his finance plan that he
It'll
just
be
introduced,
great.
it'll be great, but huge.
It'll be the best.
Yes.
Trust me.
Huge.
Trust
Yeah.
me. You can believe.
His tax plan that he introduced and the way to try to
That
steer
he's changed already, by the way?
well, it has to be tweaked.
Well, the tweaks, he went from 25% top to what, 33% or something like that? That's a pretty big tweak.
Now, what about the 15% corporate and repatriation of funds?
Understood, and I think there's some validity in that.
Well, that's a great deal. I mean, but also you're going to put a tariff. You're going to put a tariff on goods that's coming into the country.
But
If a
we
country
also-
who's going to pay the tariff? Who's going to pay that 35%?
We ultimately end up paying the tariff.
We
Exactly,
are.
yep.
So there's a tax increase you're not talking about.
But we didn't discuss Hillary's tax increase.
We're talking about Trump right now.
But Hillary
talking
wants to,
Trump right now.
Hillary
We're
wants to
talking
tax the
Trump.
middle class, and she's already said she's going to do it. So
She
you know,
didn't say a 35% tariff.
Maybe we're going to build the wall, not the Mexicans.
There.
That's possible.
you never know.
But, you know, the alternative is, look at Hillary. I mean, lie. And now today, they came out with more devastating emails for her. I mean,
Well, the emails they came out with were emails that were
Foundation.
lost, but they were recovered from the people that she sent them to. And yes, there are some potentially problematic emails in there for her. But again, I think that remains to be seen
Well,
because
she's got good people to cover up. I mean, every time they come out with something, she's got
well,
a good
if they don't
statement.
cover up, they end up dead.
So let's go around the table. Strong point for Donald Trump this week, weak point for Donald Trump this week. What do you think?
Well, I think him bringing up the Second Amendment is very powerful because, Hillary did say that she was going to abolish the Second Amendment.
No, she
No,
didn't.
I don't think she
No,
said that.
come on,
No, I don't think
Jim.
she said that.
She wants to.
She's not
She is
a
She's not
definitely
pro
for more.
second.
She's for more gun control. In fact, I think I heard her say that she was for the Second Amendment, but she wants more gun control. So I don't think she wants to abolish, in my opinion.
You
And
think
I'm not a
she
Hillary
want,
fan.
does she want gun control, or does she want guns in the hands of good people that can handle them?
I can't. Make
I
that
proposed
distinction.
all along the NRA become involved with Mental Health Authority, the Mental Health Association nationwide, to come up with ways to keep guns out of the hands of people that shouldn't have them.
Oh, I
And I think
agree.
Henry and Jim, you would agree.
I agree
People
with
get
100%.
guns that shouldn't have
That's
them.
true, but
I
unfortunately,
agree
we
with
don't
that.
usually know about that till after it's too late.
We'll never know anything if we don't develop a program to deal with
That's
it.
why
like
I
we
was
did.
against the West Virginia law that, anybody can carry a gun.
Okay, positive, negative.
positive. Quick on Donald Trump. It seems like he's starting to come back to his message, come back to his base and where he's going to gain support. Negative, he still has the tendency to veer off the message and implode at least once or twice a week.
Okay, positive and negative.
I think the positive things is with Trump, he's consistently off message. I think he consistently has something good one day and will blow it out of the water the next with something that's just absolutely atrocious.
Yeah, it's stupid,
So
too.
he is very consistently off message.
Okay. All right. Let's talk Hillary for a minute. How damaging, Ron, will these emails be?
Oh, I've heard emails, Benghazi and the red meat issues from the Republican Party now for 2 years.
So you don't think it has any
I
effect?
I see no issue with emails. An email. What's in an email? What bad happened with an email?
Okay. Jim, what do you think? Emails, is she gonna outlive the email scandal?
I think a lot of the emails are just frivolous. And I think some of the emails with security, national security, that could be very damaging in the wrong hands.
I think we have to wait till October and what WikiLeaks is going to produce.
Okay. So we're worried about the October surprise. Good point, bad point for Hillary this week. Ron?
I think she's on message. She had a great week after the convention. She picked up a lot of points. She's ahead in a lot of red states right now. She's pulling in a lot of Republican support.
And Republican endorsements.
Yeah, and Republican
interestingly.
endorsements. I'd like to see a good candidate on the Republican Party. I think good, solid elections are good. But right now, they don't have a candidate.
Well, for Hillary, I still have concern over her health issues. The repeating of things, the random giggling that she does, and some of the other tics that she has. I think there's something
You
behind
think
that.
that's health related?
I think that's health related. I think it could be stress-induced health related.
Or it could just be anxiety from being on the national stage?
Being crooked Hillary. I mean, but I think that's one of the issues there.
That's the bad point.
That's the bad part.
What's the good point?
Good point is she really hasn't put her foot in her mouth or deleted any emails in the last 5 days. So,
Jim?
I agree with Ron. She stays on message. But the thing is, she lies too much. I mean, in the past, too many scandals, and she's crooked.
But
now they
her
got
base doesn't care.
They don't care. And the foundation now, is, this whole thing, 10% goes to charity. What happened to the other 90% of the funds? But you know what? I'm really sad with today's politics because is this all we have?
So what is the good point for Hillary? Ron gave...
Well, I did. She stays on message.
Okay, what is the bad point for Hillary? She lies too much.
She
Okay.
lies too much.
Let's talk Gary Johnson for a minute. Is this the year of the third-party candidate?
I don't think he's going to make it, but I think he's going to do damage either
I think
to
he's
the
going to
Hillary.
get on the debate stage.
I'll be
needs
surprised if he
10%.
gets on the debate stage because it's 15% as a burden to get there.
Yep.
And he's somewhere between 10 to 12.
He's getting
and
close.
a lot of his messages alienate the people who I think probably could be swing voters in this election.
But the more people that are turned off by Trump or turned off by Hillary
Are going to him.
may go to Gary Johnson.
The Bernie Sanders voters.
Well, you'll have to look at Ralph Nader took away from who? Al Gore.
Al Gore.
Okay. Who'd Ross Perot take from? George Herbert Walker Bush.
Yep.
So who will Gary Johnson take away?
I think he's going to take from Trump. That's my personal
I
opinion.
think it's going to be split.
You think?
Yeah, because I was watching the news today, actually Fox News, and I was catching CNN. I think with John, I mean, he's got some good talking points. He really does. He's going to hurt Hillary more than he's going to hurt Trump
I don't
because
think
of
so.
Bernie
The
Sanders.
Libertarians are more aligned with the Republicans. in my
Traditionally,
opinion.
they are, but
Yeah.
I think that Gary Johnson, with some of his positions, is too far away from the core of the Republican Party that doesn't like Trump, and they may sit out,
Yeah.
which could
Well,
cost the election.
That's the other problem if people stay home. One more subject before we end this segment, and that is no matter what side of the coin you are on at this point, everybody seems to indicate that there's a problem with our election system. That there are, and I'm not suggesting that there's malice, but there are problems. There's problems with the primary. There are problems with the general. There are problems with the Democratic process of kind of leaning it towards Hillary. Is there any meaningful election changes that are going to happen as a result of this cycle?
Are you talking about the debates, when the debates are held,
I'm
and
talking
when the
about the
elections
debates.
are?
I'm talking about the primary process.
You're
and
talking about
the
hanging
crazy
chads
way-
in Florida, which gave George Bush the election?
Is there any meaningful? I think hanging chads were nothing compared to what we're seeing now, even though that was a general election and this is a primary. You see on both sides a lot of questions around the electoral process. Does any of that change? as
We've
we go
had
through
4 years to
cycles?
fix them if there were problems.
It's too late
I don't
now.
see anything changing. I think it's going to be status quo. It'd be equally as bad as the preceding two elections.
It's too late to fix it now, anyways. You're only talking
Well,
3 months away from
no,
the
no,
election.
no. I'm not saying fix it for this cycle.
Right.
I'm saying fix it for next cycle.
I think there's going to be some squirrely things that happen that might raise some eyebrows.
I think we have short memories as Americans, and I'm going to take the last word on that. Next up on the flip side, Rio 2016. Our panel weighs in on the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Ugly.
Stay tuned. We're back in 3 minutes.